Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and riveting and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master propaganda heroes like defender of the fatherland, your lord and master, off here to 2v2 on Belgorod. In the west, it is NiteNite and ToxicGrenadier fighting out for the Oberkommandist Germany, Deutschland. Here with the course Deutschland, Panzergrenadier shown with Spec Ops and Breakthrough. In the east, it is Cblanco and Zodiak fighting for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, Commandant Stalin, and the 3rd Guards Mechanized Corps. We've got motor defensive airborne troops, mechanized support, airborne troops, and combined arms. Army, a Panzer Kurwagenstaat and Volkskriegs Kurwagenstaat versus just a bunch of conscripts. And a big hearty thanks to Olivier for upgrading his Patreon pledge and supporting the Propagandacast a bit further there. And of course, a big thanks to your other Patreon supporters for their continued support for the Propagandacast. Without them in the support, the Propagandacast would not be possible. So big thanks to all those other people enjoying thanks for pledge on Patreon, or they can donate via PayPal. Links are in the video description. And if you're considering pre-ordering company's fee, you can do so via the link in the comments. Use the code CoH2 as it's written there, and I get a 15% cut of the sale. And finally, comment, like, share, subscribe, feed the YouTube algorithms. So, off to the races we are here. We got Spec Ops with the Radio Silence, Sturmoffizier, Infiltration Tactics, Sturmgewehr, Command Panthers, Breakthrough Tactics, Panzerfusilier, more Sturmoffiziers actually, Assault Artillery, and the Jagdtiger. Would be interesting if they actually both went for Sturmpionier, or Sturmoffiziers. Obviously, both got Sturmpionier, so that's a bit redundant. In the south here, though, we can see NiteNite's actually focusing more on just securing the air around here before rushing the field point, which honestly makes sense. Up north, meanwhile, we got ToxicGrenadier here clashing with Zodiac's forces here, but the skirmishing further up north here. More extended in the north, in the south, bit more concentrated here, of course, with sandbags up almost more or less already here for Cblanco. It's going to be tough here for NiteNite to, make a direct rush now on to the fuel point here under Cblanco's command. He'd have to, catch either Cblanco via flank, typically through the eastern fields here. Oops. Or, have to, bait him into, a kill zone and then push onwards after Cblanco's been pushed back. In the center north, again, ToxicGrenadier and Zodiac are just sort of finding a more extended frontage. So we can see that ToxicGrenadier is actually falling a bit back here. Fast truck there, by the way, which is interesting. Likely not fast MD-34. NiteNite, meanwhile, with just more full Grenadier, conscript charging into Sturmpionier, rushing into an assist here with the flank through the center here as Zodiac strikes right at the car point here. Sturmpionier and Panzer there are making short work here of Zodiac's conscripts. Down to just one squad now. Kurwagen gaining veterans, one that's heavily damaged. In the south here, massive push from Cblanco. Mines up there, go 3 men dead to 1 mine. That's pretty good mine value, by the way. Pretty good mine value. He's putting forward in the Sturmpionier and the Volksgrenadier. He's there getting merged quickly. In the center, we've got Sturmpionier moving forward, and he's pulling up here. Further up north, Panzer moving forwards. Kurwagen being pushed back. There we go. Constant merging everything. He needs to keep that full strength here. But even then, with the Sturmpionier just focusing down, there's only so much in it. But there you go, another merge. This is basically what they call, the... Now, in this case, practically 13, 14 man, engineer squad, because simply by just having all these countries nearby, the engineer squad by extension just becomes much, much bigger there for all intents and purposes. At the same time, smart play here by NiteNite exploits this active flank around here and what the main force as Cblanco kind of put himself out here rather aggressively. Engineers are trying to buy some extra time here for Cblanco, but the question is, was that really going to help him out? Up north here, though, we got ToxicGrenadier a bit more defensively for now. Engineers reinforcing healing. Same here for Cblanco, except his medics are still on the way. That was a bit fierce here. Sandbags up there. Can use his opponent's sandbags here for now. Though I would not be surprised if Cblanco eventually wipes this off. Or mines it. That also works. Truck there moving out for NiteNite as well. Battle headquarters up there for ToxicGrenadier. Guessing an MD-34 rush is in the books for him. He's also got 2 Obersalans bulletins there, so probably also planning to get fairly fast towards those. First third commander is Mechanized Support with anti-tank and ambush tactics, Guards of Infantry, marked vehicle, IL-2 Sturmovik strafing runs, and the ISU or 152. Kurwagen going straight for the carpet, but a conscript they're blocking there. Quickly pelts it with an anti-tank grenade, blowing apart the engine block. Well, quite apart, but certainly leaves the engine looking a lot worse for wear. There you go, another mass assault here by Cblanco. And again, I imagine here that the engineers will be basically just, you know, supported by the conscripts with their merge ability. So again, take some losses, then merges, take some losses, merges. Kuban fought there up north, and NiteNite here without insufficient infantry or machine gun is certainly not quite equipped to withstand certain assault effects. He's going for Mechanized Regiment. Kuban about to get knocked out here. Conscripts are suppressed, heavy fighting around here. A lot of action is the Surds actually push more or less at the same time. Both NiteNite and ToxicGrenadier could call in a Storm Officer, and certainly I would recommend it as it's a pretty good unit, honestly. But tends to, I think, get a bit overlooked. Zodiak there with the Guards Rifle Infantry. Also a very good unit, but one that, on the other hand, isn't particularly overlooked by Soviet players. Or the ones on the receiving end, the Germans. But we got ToxicGrenadier here with the Storm Officer. Thumbs up to that. We'll have to see if NiteNite bothers with it, but it would be pretty neat if, like, both German players went for the Sturm Officer. Sturm Pioneer finding half of the car point there, but a really strong, solid third push here. The Germans having getting a bit punished there, from particular, I think, ToxicGrenadier for a lighter tier 1. Of course, he does now have the MD-35 here to help deal with Cblanco and Zodiac's infantry. But that's a lot. Then we got briefly something out of the Mechanized Regiment, but it cancels it for another machine gun here. Bring in a lot of machine gun gewehr in here. And Cblanco goes for the fencer with light anti-tank, goes to the M42. The mortars, advanced fortifications, the Dishka heavy machine gun, and anti-tank gun Overwatch. That's going to be a fair amount of firepower there. Of course, they can bring to bear against the Germans, and of course use them in anything but defensive manner. Remember, comrades, the best defense is a good offense, and getting rid of anyone who looks suspicious at you once you're in power. What? Nothing. Also pushing ahead with a Sturmgewehr and maybe some incendiary grenades to the Brandhandgranate. He's a bit short there of the infiltration tactics, aka the grenade assault. North here, Panzer equipped with the Gewehr 43, and of course an additional member to the squad. Constantly pushing north is to meet ToxicGrenadier's northern push, and south here NiteNite here moving in with infantry. Machine gun Gewehr and also being hauled forwards again. 2 machine guns does provide a lot of anti-infantry firepower, which would definitely take some of the bite out of Cblanco's mass infantry assaults. In the center we got the Sturm Officer ready, leading the men with his Luger. And here Panzer with the Army engineers and the conscripts. The Sturm Officer rolling about here, MD-34 backing things up. They could catch a lot of Zodiac's in from the bad spot here. Carfon here in the south here, though. Broad push here by Cblanco, backed up by his own machine gun, so it makes it a bit tougher here for NiteNite for a cohesive defense. Could go for the offensive stick, goes to the cannon effort. Obviously starting to return about enemy light armor. Obviously they're hitting the Carfon there, denying the Surge's precious fuel. Very good for them. Plenty of mines spotted here by NiteNite. Sturm Pioneer, good work by Cblanco, of course, laying down a lot of mines. Need to retreat the Sturm Pioneer, though, before they get, I think, hosed here. There'll be MD-34 narrowly saves in there. Lining up for deep flanking against the Surge positions. I think that is fairly sharp. They could do more troops. Trot on the way there for NiteNite. As for ToxicGrenadier, nothing there. And we got the heavy mortar out for Cblanco. The MH-38, 120mm mortar. Around the northern victory point with the conscripts. He is routed. Truck halfway down there for ToxicGrenadier. There's a decent pushback here by the Surds across the entire front line. Up north of their own some issues. Apparently UV there got stuck behind the sandbags. Quick wearing off there. Can happen from time to time, a bit careful where it plays the sandbags. You can risk conscripts getting stuck there. It's very unfortunate and very annoying. Bring out the conscripts, killing Boris there. The rest survive due to the heavy cover bonus. Guards when they're taking some of the DP light machine guns. A mortar of course, adding a further problem there for the Germans in south here. NiteNite continues to seemingly line up for a push. He's got the Schwerpunter quarters going up, and we got radio silence here. Lining up for a bigger push, in fact. Very nice. In fact, he's using it for effectively what is a pincer maneuver with the infantry. That is really impressive, by the way. 2 thumbs up here to NiteNite. That's Actually, I think the first time I've seen, shall we say, radio silence being used like this, like just basically setting up for an infantry blitz, and then a pincer maneuver at that. That's like 2 thumbs up word there for NiteNite. That was really solid use of the radio silence. No off-storm obviously there from him. Still like to see one there. Oh, it did. Oh, that's ToxicGrenadier. He's going for his sphere punch quarters now. What's being pushed back? He was getting his constantly pushing forwards. No orbs are neither here for NiteNite. Guess he's planning on some fast Panzer IVs. There you go, grenade assault here. And walks straight into it, taking a minor loss though. Very lucky there for Cblanco. Up north here, the Zodiac is able to rush in the T-7 light tank here to put more pressure on the Germans. Panzers here about to get ripped apart as Zodiac's light tank rolls ahead. More units to replace once lost in the fight against the Germans. Got the Storms caught here by the T-70 and the south here. Fuel point being claimed once more by Cblanco after intense hand-to-hand combat. Oh, not quite that intense. North here, Sturmofficer hiding about, or Sturmpioner hiding about. A Kenman Landsquart and the T-70 right through the frontal armor, unsurprisingly. Another great shot there on the T-70's armor, disking for the south. Obersoldaten there. Done for NiteNite. Could go for Sturmgewehr, but more like just to go for MG-34s. As expected here by NiteNite, the MG-34, MG-34. It's caught here by the Schwerer Panzer quarters. Taking heavy losses there. Almost the entire unit gets cut to ribbons there by the 1st Mill Flak. Filling up here with a light Infantergeschütz. Still no option for him, despite, having bulletins for it. South here, Disco proving a bit probably got the machine running up, and caught here already by the Disco first. Not looking great here for NiteNite. Needs a flanking element here, artillery, and he currently possesses neither of those. Also, they're pulling a bit back here, to maybe bait the conscripts into a kill zone. I don't quite know. But Kev's being caught here alongside the machine gun by artillery fire here. Looking a bit tougher. The Germans got the Kubelwagen now going for the flanking against Cblanco's southern front here. Interesting. Could work out. But we've also got more mines going down here. Just not missing a beat here. Cblanco is rapidly laying down as many mines as he can. Thumbs up there to Cblanco. Very solid play there. So one of the highlights as to why the Surge can be so powerful, because they can just rapidly lay down a lot of mines. But there you go, grenades holding the bounced up conscripts here. Could cost here Cblanco a lot of infantry. There we go. Forced to retreat here rapidly. Nice push there by NiteNite. Completely opens up the entire southern frontier against Cblanco. Fuel pull in trouble. That's it. There's a Disco there, ready to meet the German advance head on. In the center, ToxicGrenadier continue to fight here with Zodiac, and up north, it's a bit more of a dangerous situation. Well, we've got the T-7 moving about here. In the south, the push continues here. Disco turning around here. Might need some smoke or something else here. There we go. Looks like he doesn't have it. Instead, going to get suppressed here and forced to retreat. Kubelwagen rushing forwards here. Schwer punted quarters, nothing near for NiteNite. Closing in on though, and similarly ToxicGrenadier can soon go for a Panther as well. Sandbags ruined. In the center there though, ToxicGrenadier and Zodiac keeps up the clashes there. Neither side making particularly much progress, though still is, I think, largely favoured here for Zodiac. Also got the ambushed field gun there, courtesy of the Mechanized Support commander. And same being cleared out here by the MG-34. Or not. Could have popped into the previous rounds, I think, for a good chance of wiping it earlier, but I think that's a missed opportunity there by NiteNite. Still does force Cblanco off here and giving the fuel point back to the Germans once more. In the center, Sturmpioner continuing their clash. Then up north, just I think he's kind of forgotten about them, honestly. Or just the density of the defense here makes ToxicGrenadier less keen attack head on, but they could just flank up through the north, get behind here Zodiac's lines. Can go for the Panther 4 model now, but certainly strongly advise that. There we go. And similarly, NiteNite or ToxicGrenadier will also benefit. There you go. Both German players now, the Panther 4 model on the way. Meanwhile, on the south, though, Zodiac to the rescue here. Very much a good chance to wipe actually not just one, but two of NiteNite squads here. But there you go. Panther 16 here from ToxicGrenadier. Filter's lost. Looks like the Sturmpioner, though, do survive still. That was a great move, I think, there by Zodiac. And definitely puts more pressure on the Germans, in particular NiteNite. There's Panther 4 halfway done. Would appear he's actually lost the Obersoldaten, which is certainly quite a blow there to NiteNite, as they are fairly expensive. And that's not exactly an infantry unit you absolutely want to fritter away at all. So that's definitely a great kill there for the certain certainly means that effectively NiteNite lost 2 infantry squads, including a fairly premium infantry squad up north here. Panzer sees the northern point here. We got some DP light machines left behind, but no forces to grab them. Also for ToxicGrenadier now, very good. Panther 4 there ready for NiteNite and for ToxicGrenadier, so that's 2 Panther 4s. Meanwhile, neither serve players like any medium armor, so that's actually a bit of an advantage for the Germans. Assuming they can exploit it. Cblanco taking up there by the tank will be between command there. Zodiac may also be planning something there. Grenades secure up there by the conscripts. Panther 4 the pillman machine gun. In the center of the Panther 4 is just probing around a bit, see it poking a bit at the Soviet front, but is not really making any significant impact. Mechanized armor company for Zodiac and the Red Army, so that is a steady move towards medium army from him. And we finally got a Sturmofficer out from NiteNite, meaning we actually do have 2 Sturmofficers out in the field now. That is a pretty rare sight. Panther 4 being shifted southwards here, right into Cblanco's assault there. We do also have force on the flank here, make it a bit harder here for Cblanco to advance all the way. Creeping out with his ambushed light anti-tank gun. Perhaps routed, victory point defender. We got 412 as 234. Germans definitely enjoying a strong wing 2-point lead over the Soviets. Very strong. Frontovix pushing ahead in there. Go. Fulton this Sturm Pioneer flanking up behind Cblanco's force here. One disc is in trouble. The other one could also be a problem. He could pop a concussive grenade, but actually I don't. Doesn't get that done in time, so there we go. His troops are getting suppressed and murdered out. Definitely missed opportunity here by NiteNite. That definitely ends up costing a lot. We do have the Storms now flanking in there, and that does help, I think, collapse Cblanco's position. Another white P on NiteNite. He's really around infantry and really should replace some of his losses. As for ToxicGrenadier, he's holding out fairly well there. Cons there being marked for death by the officer. MU-34 ripping into them. T-7 again in the south. Base of a Zodiac, but now in the center as well. He's going to need it there. The Panther 4 push continues here as Zodiac's men are dying on the road here. The Panther 4 flanking in there, going engaging, landing great hits, tearing huge chunks of Zodiac's infantry out of his force there. White some engagements here. Anti-tank they're pursuing the Panther 4, but it was running into the MU-34 here. We got the southern victory point. We got 180 though versus 412 here. Panther 4 going for the field gun. That could be quite the blow there to Zodiac. Losing one of his anti-tank guns there. Leaving just with one. So good work there by the Germans. In general, that's associated as the Germans should always prioritize, if possible, to destroy field guns. Do not want your opponent, like, you know, having them for long if possible. Panther 4 the routed here by Cblanco's anti-tank defenses. Assisting his teammate around the center. Good play there by Cblanco. Constant in the south. Wagning southwards as well. Both sides now with mechanized armor companies. So of course might be planning here for the ISU 152. Not now, then eventually. We of course have to see where that leads. Smoke being deployed here by Cblanco. Thumbs up to that. South bit more sneaking about here by the southern edge of the map here by NiteNite. But there you go. Cblanco at the ready in the center of the push here by Zodiac and the Red Army against the forces of ToxicGrenadier. And we got NiteNite here with the Stukas potentially a very powerful weapon, but also a potential waste of resources, as the Stukas does require a fair amount of skill for the best assaults. So if you don't know how to make use of the Stukas on a good enough level, it can just end up being a huge waste of resources. Sturmofficer almost got wiped there. Maybe finding around the center here between ToxicGrenadier and Zodiac. Once more flaring up. Center being grabbed as well, but the surge now no response from the Germans whatsoever. And tactically, it's also worth noting, I mean, ToxicGrenadier is just largely focusing on attacks through here, a bit up north, but creeps, we're not seeing like any attempt like some flank around up north to get through here. Even like, you know, using his light infantry gun to deploy smoke to that way support a push here. So definitely think there's some room for ToxicGrenadier to maybe adapt his tactics a bit better to fighting the current set of events here rather than just charging into the opponent's guns every time. Which, I mean, obviously can work, but at the same time can end up also being fairly expensive. T-34-6 there for Zodiac. There we go. Stuka's first firing away there, a full volley. There we go. Now that's a hit there. 8 kills. A few squirrels. He's also at risk of being wiped out. That's going to be helpful there for the Germans. If they can move in the ace engineers squad with flamethrowers and also just a lot of bunched up support weapons. Now, this actually could be a huge blow here to Cblanco. Like losing both of his anti-tank guns would be a humongous blow and definitely difficult to come stabilize from. There we go. Both anti-tanks cleared out. They need to destroy that one. We could also run away with it, but I think I would just personally destroy it there. Until we fire around in there. We've got anti-tank watch out here from. We also got another special operations push. Please grab that one as well, destroyed. Machine up through the center here. Up north, the ToxicGrenadier is doing nothing about northern victory points. Still focusing more on the center. In the south here, or east, push from Cblanco here. Feeling trying to hold off there. And he even tries to make off with the M42 here. This is going to work out. That's going to mean Cblanco can get back his anti-tank guns. And Cblanco definitely seems pretty intent in maybe getting back. We got the Chem setting up here. M42 turning around as well. The Plaster Field gun now here. Artillery there. Randomly going off. Panther moving in here from ToxicGrenadier to assist. He's also floating a fair amount of manpower. T-Fed rushing in here, ramming the Panther 4. Anti-tanks then a bit of trouble. He's got more infantry moving forward. Cblanco's men charging ahead. And we've got a Katyusha barrage here from Zodiac. Rather chaotic stuff. He mission about to get wiped out. Field gun wiped out there as well. Cblanco's having none of this. That is property of the Soviet state! And if I lose it, I'll be in big trouble. Like, I mean gulag trouble. I can't let you have it. Need to fix up that Panzerkampfwagen für schnell. Here, Panther 4's being fixed up. Repair party's up. We got the Stukas being hit for another barrage. Oh. A lot of bunched up troops here. Could be a really good target for the Stukas of us. Could be a really good target, obviously. But can he land the hit? So that's the bigger question. Decent. Got, I think, about 3 kills there, but perhaps not as big as he might have hoped for. A Kemper being wiped out and then possibly wiped out again. Yup. In fact, could then either be destroyed or seized by Zodiac. That would definitely be a problem for the Germans if Zodiac suddenly has a Raketnev in his arsenal. You see there, though, ToxicGrenadier rushing in force to prevent that exact scenario from happening. Panther forming up as well there. T-Sling and blasting. We got the Asian fire there for Zodiac. And Cblanco's also going for an Asian 5 tank destroyer here. They're both committing to tank destroyers here. Meanwhile, ToxicGrenadier appears for all intents and purposes to be stalling for a Jagdtiger right away now. That is also an interesting choice there under current circumstances. I mean, probably enough here to assume that Zodiac is going for the ISU 152s. Obviously, in a sense, it's not a bad idea, but unless his opponent actually gets one out, you know, might be... Okay, he's going for the Jagdpanzer. Good, good. I say that's also in most cases a much better choice, but oh well. Jagdpanzer there on the way for ToxicGrenadier and the Groß Deutschland. Got the Ishi-85s out here for both Soviet players. There's going to be 2 tank destroyers which can punch through a lot of German armor. In terms of victory points, the Germans still enjoy a good lead over the Soviets. He's in the center victory point. Jagdpanzer's almost done there for ToxicGrenadier. Technically, it's the Panther 4-70V, because the Jagdpanzer is actually just the base model, was just a regular semi-feminine cannon like something on the Panzer 4, the Stug 3D or Stug 4. As for the upgrade, they can't remove the Jagd thing from it. I suspect that might have been a bit of deception attempt there by the Germans to try and fool the Allies into thinking they actually had a Panther 4 with the gun of a Panther. There we go, Katyusha fire, they're ripping through here. ToxicGrenadier's light infantry gun crew. Jagdpanzer sitting out there with its high velocity 75mm gun. As mentioned, same as one used by the Panther. Good shot there in theory, except it actually misses. That does hit actually. Okay, Malta gets to hit the issue fold around to half health. Storm Officer rolling ahead here straight at the mortar crew there. Couldn't have grenaded those NiteNite. Storm Officer could have grenaded, actually lost his Storm Officer is so short on infantry, those he's going for some orbital hardening again. Decent Nobani here could pop a smoke grenade. And up north, the victory point once been claimed here by Zodiak. Doesn't miss a beat here to seize it if he can. In the south here, though, NiteNite and Cblanco continue their dance of death. With NiteNite stubbornly resisting any attempt to grab the southern victory point here by Cblanco. And we got, breakthrough tactics here by ToxicGrenadier. Thumbs up. Quick planning a southern flank here around NiteNite. That could be a pretty good idea here for Cblanco, honestly. And for the Winghead Veterinary 2, actually close to Veterinary 3. And Cblanco there, briefly considered another issue 5 perhaps, but he's now going for the T-34 some 6 and some proper armor. As for NiteNite, I mean, he could go for another Panther 4, but I'm guessing he's planning a Command Panther here. The Befehlspanzerkampfwagen 5. Stukas with 12 kills now. Definitely after the initial barrage has slowed down a lot in terms of actual successes gained. Panzer is the Garrison of the center victory point. Grenades there being flung at the Panzerverteidiger. Of course, return the favor with the Stielhandgranate. Counter damage. Katyusha fire around the issue to farm. We got an infrared half-trick from ToxicGrenadier now. That's an interesting choice. Not sure I'd recommend that, but alright. And now NiteNite can go for the Command Panther, and in fact does do so. Befehlspanzerkampfwagen 5. He's not holding out for King Tiger, I suppose. The south, though, Cblanco's making great progress against NiteNite. He's just being pushed back. He does have the Command Panther now, and Zodiac's now bringing in T-34 some 6s of his own. Panther there taking quite a few hits here. So needs to be careful around, the surge with anti-tank Overwatch. In fact, he kind of drove into the zone there where it was active, and has actually lost his Panther 4, I think, during the previous fighting there. There's so much going on there. Damaging the Panther. In fact, he's about to lose the Panther already. Good lord. NiteNite needs to be a lot more careful around it with his armor around the Soviets, because again, anti-tank Overwatch is an incredibly powerful ability, and also very ahistorical, as the Soviet artillerymen did not have that kind of skill to, repeatedly hit a single tank like that. No army really did, actually. But certainly not the Soviets. Land gun a bit in the danger zone. Plus, I mean, compared to air support, there is no counter for it. You can't bring in an anti-artillery tank or whatever to try and counter it like that. So it's definitely one of those very puzzling abilities in terms of power level. Especially consider they had to nerf so many of those anti-tank strafes, and then they just include that one, which is infinitely better than those in a sense. T-34 there awaiting orders for Cblanco on the Red Army. Got Finfred Navis on 28. Yak Panther holding back here. Panther 4 being repaired. ToxicGrenadier, I feel O remains fairly defensive, but he also has kind of force right now, but he's just not, I feel, wielding it particularly efficiently versus the Surge in the south. Another push by Cblanco. Up north, Yak Panther being spotted here by Surge. Tank destroyers and anti-tank guns. Quickly compelling ToxicGrenadier to position it. Got some movement here. And another Stukas barrage here, and this time doesn't really do much either. That gets a kill, maybe 2. And NiteNite southern push is being turned into complete mess here. Quagmire in the center. ToxicGrenadier bring up. We got another Storm offset for NiteNite. Thumbs up to that. Orbistar and Panzer charging straight into the Zodiac center here. We've got machines there helping to deal with the German attackers. No smoke here, immediately being tossed by ToxicGrenadier, trying to maybe obfuscate that. Katyusha fire off as well here, ripping through ToxicGrenadier's forces. Complete chaos reigning around the center here. Panther moving up, engaging the T-34 from 6 and destroys it. Good kill here. And another anti-tank overwatch in the south here against the Command Panther, ramming it and then gonna likely take it out. He's filming it as well here, so good chance here that NiteNite loses a Command Panther. Also, the conscripts and conscript north dealing with the cannon over there. Yak Panther being pushed back. So it's starting to really extract a heavy toll now from the Germans. Cblanco just start training up more tanks now he wanted to. They should find they're about to get knocked out though. Command Panthers driving around in the circus here, but there we go. Get spotted and knocked out by the anti-tank overwatch. Close call there for NiteNite. He almost had it, I think, but yeah. Just one brief moment there, and again, anti-tank overwatch just goes, you know, bananas on it. Got the issue 5, but yeah, not exactly a great engagement there for NiteNite. So let's struck as a first. We got more T-34s there for Cblanco and the glorious Red Army. Got 265 128. Panther 4, the Veteran 4. Yak Panzer Veterans U1. Now, the actual Panther 4-70V also had a MG42 here, which Relic for some reason removed. In fact, the earlier model with just the regular gun there actually had 2 MG42s in the hull as a fun side fact. T-34s from 6 on the way there. Almost done for Cblanco. And I know they removed the machine gun because if you actually, at least at some point, check the stats for the game, it actually had the whole machine gun there mentioned in its stats. But for some reason, I guess they decided it shouldn't have it. Or maybe it was bugged, who knows. Darth there being absolutely torn apart here by the Panzers in the Sturmoffizier close to the east level here. Now the German assault through the center. And for Yak Panzer moving in, some smoke here to help maybe, you know, deal with some of the defending elements. Could be pretty good in the south, though. Cblanco is turning tides here, and NiteNite once more. His orbitals on there trying to deal with advancing, so it's having a bit of a hard time there. Incendium piercing rounds. Going through the conscripts. And the center Panzer is about to get murdered. Up north, you've got Pontius there. A mortar there, 14 kills, close to death. T-34 rolling out. As for Zodiak, I suspect we might be looking at an ISU 152 from him, and for ToxicGrenadier, well, God only knows what he's planning. Back to the game, the Yak Panzer shoots and added. A lot of rockets almost taken out there. Constant center being met with fierce fire. MG34 there. Holding up the third advance here. Field guns bombarding here under German command. Yak Panzer, of course, still needing repairs. Constant there being held up. And just the northern point is basically forgotten there by ToxicGrenadier. In the south there, Cblanco is pressuring through against NiteNite's positions. Field gun there, closing in on Veterans U1 for Deutschland. And another strafing gun here from Zodiak. And another Panther 4 there for NiteNite. Any dreams of bigger tanks, I think, have at this point been scuppered. Abandoned. And particularly up against something like anti-tank overwatch, the bigger the tank is, the more of a liability it basically becomes. Now the T-34 from 6th for Cblanco. T-34 from 6 flying away there. In the center there, another push by ToxicGrenadier. In the north, again, is pretty much just abandoned by him. Whether intentionally or not is harder to say, though. Storm officer there rolling ahead here. Now equipped with the Sturmgewehr for the officer himself, but still with K9TKs. In fact, it was not uncommon for squad leaders to be equipped with the Sturmgewehr 44 or an MP40. So, fun fact there. T-34 from 6. Cblanco's just churning out those tanks with the Germans, which is typical. This is a very good late game side strategy. Just keep churning out T-34s from 6s until the Germans just, you know, get crushed. Pumping held up with the MB-34. Orbs on the retreating. Panther 4 for NiteNite rolling ahead here again. In the center, there a bit of a standoff between ToxicGrenadier and Zodiak. But how long it lasts, I do not know, though. I think the Katyusha barrage is a very quick attempt here by Zodiak to, you know, force that question to be in his favor. almost got the immune field on the south here. Cblanco's maintaining control of the southern exit point, and just NiteNite is going nowhere. Like, in this regard, the Germans will have initial successes. Tactics, I think, kind of run into a wall here. Partly again because anti-tank Overwatch is really good at shutting down both German armoured offensives and defensives. But also just tactically, they just keep doing the exact same thing again, which the Surds, of course, at this stage have adapted fairly well to doing, and the Germans just haven't, like, you know, changed up their tactics and respond to that in return. I don't think there's some areas there where the Germans could definitely stand to improve a bit. Again, it is a common sight, I think, to see Oberkommandist and Wehrmacht players in Germany just, you know, like, you know, against a certain late game, just try and do the same thing over and over again, hoping the Surge just make a mistake that they can exploit, rather than you trying to actually outplay them, and actually outmaneuver them. Sturmovs are routed, T-34 rolling ahead here, we got the films flying to the T-34, actually crewed by the Sturmovs there, and has multiple officers now manning the gun, by the way. Multiple. Isn't it a bit wasteful having 2 lieutenants in this gun? Don't ask questions if you know what's good for yourself. More T-34 from Cblanco. Keeping up with that T-34 spam because, again, it's really good. Another T-34 out there. Meanwhile, Zodiak could technically go for the ISU 152 any moment. Now he just needs, well, actually to free up some population for it. That's actually his, like, big issue right now. He's got too many units, been too successful in keeping his forces alive here. Yeah, if he were to, like, lose a unit here, he could just, I think, pop the button and start, you know, slinging away that Surge with some, or the Germans, I mean, with some pretty heavy firepower. As for ToxicGrenadier, I mean, he's got a lot of fuel there. He's going for a truck, might be a King Tiger. Another Stukas barrage here. We got 19 kills. 22, 25, 27. Okay, that's a pretty good barrage. Does get a wipe, but of course, inadvertently opens the gate here for the ISU 152, the Schwero boy, the Beast Killer. Meanwhile, we got another anti-tank watch against the Germans here in the west. Blast strafing runs here. Issued 5 knocked out, but could lose the Panther into the Jagdpanzer here if they're not careful. T-Fields rolling in. Here's Cblanco pushing here with support from the anti-tank Overwatch. Jagdpanzer gaining their T-Field, which does give it some extra mobility and such, but I don't think can outrun the Red Army here, honestly. Even though the T-3 main gun is kaput. Like Kedmov setting up, Katyusha fire on it. Jagdpanzer kaput here. Panther 4 Ace moving in. But need to be careful doesn't get caught by the anti-tank Overwatch, which, yeah, it does. The situation with the German army is now turning into complete mess here, as the Surds are just completely breaking the German front line apart now here. Some heavy losses for the Germans. NiteNite is down to no tanks again. ToxicGrenadier is down just the Ace Panther 4. And of course we do have the ISU 152 on the field here, and just a lot of T-34s from 6s. The situation for the German army is looking very unfavored. Victory points wise, they're down to 70 versus the Soviets 128. Germans will have to do some heavy work. There you go, Ace Panther 4 blitzing forwards for Deutschland. Fear propaganda here being unleashed by the Sturmovs here, trying to at least compel some of the support them to retreat, and there go right into the ISU, which provides a more compelling argument to retreat. And doesn't need any silly papers for that. That wipes the Sturmovs here. So yeah, that's honestly looking a bit GG here, short of a miracle for the German army. And I do mean miracle. They pretty much suffered intense casualties, and the Surds at this point, you know, have some pretty overwhelming forces, and of course, pretty strong map control, making it very difficult, I think, for the Germans to, like, set up for a counterattack. In particular, when you consider, like, you know, the overall tactical approach for, like, a good part of the match by now, like, chances of them, like, you know, suddenly, like, you know, switching up their tactics or something that might actually win them the game, I think, is very slim. Like, a few players sound like, you know, wise up, but like a lot of players will at this stage just keep on repeating the same tactics, despite them at this stage and been proving, you know, fairly flawed. So yeah, 51, 50 versus 128. Largely looking like GG. The Irish in particular is going to be tough for them to deal with. Immediately goes for Jagdtiger. That's going to take forever to get the Jagdtiger out, and there we go. The Germans surrender. Victory for the army. A fierce fighting. Again, the Germans were close, but tactically, again, they kind of dropped the ball. I feel like in particular ToxicGrenadier here in that sense with the weaker element. He played too defensively. Should have played more aggressive, offensive, and again, looked to flank around in the north. I think had he done that, the Germans would have stood a much better chance overall. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell friends, tell family, but don't your enemies. This is Imperial Team. Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye.